Now, your listeners might not probably know who I am. I want to tell them. So, my name is Francis Hina, and I'm the past president of the Federation of Liberian Association in Canada.
Mm.
The actual founding member of that. I drafted the constitution. I chaired that. I went to the convention. I was elected to lead this place.
We want to go back to the federation that you are a founding member of, the Federation of Liberian Associations in Canada. And I want to take you on a statement you made that you don't know whether this is in our blood to want to be
Mhm.
power greed, to struggle for power, to say, okay, if I can be there, this person can be there. Last week we had a conversation with your first elected president of the that's not you serve as interim president. We're talking
Yep.
about Mr. Leo Johnson, who's now serving a 2 years mandate. There's been this qualm between Mr. Kadi, right? Mr.
Yeah.
Theophilus Kadi, who's saying the organization in fact does not have a legitimate president. He is Mr. Kadi in Liberia is the legitimate president. You form an integral part of bringing our organization together. What's your
Yeah.
take on that?
Thank you very much, Daima. It is sad. In 2014, when we heard about the Ebola crisis in Liberia, we're all touched here, seeing how people were dying. We decided to galvanize and organize our resources to help in Liberia. Every city in Canada has a kind of community leadership. So because they were touched, each and every one of them wanted to raise funds to see how they could help. In June, we had a march in 2014. We had a march in Hamilton. The ambassador Jeremiah Shulonde was visiting Hamilton as well, and he said to us, "You've been to Windsor, you've been to Kitchener, now you're here. Why don't you form a national group that will help to strengthen your voice if you're speaking on behalf of your people or you want to find help for your people?" That's what ULA is doing in America. That was a sign that yes, we needed to come together. The community leaders then around appointed some of us to serve on the steering committee to come up with a framework that will bring us together as a national organization.
Mm.
And that's how we got together as a group. Mostly we were just from Ontario at the time. So the group this time was like the interim group, the ad hoc committee was headed by Kerry. They started appointing. He was chairman, another person vice chairman, another person secretary, another person treasurer. And I said, gentlemen, we have one piece of job to do. And that job is draft a constitution, sell it to the communities. And if they agree with that framework, we go together and found this thing. No, we have to have leaders. I said, okay, fine. They said, but then you draft the constitution. I said, okay. I said, I know this is the only job that we have. So I drafted the constitution. And the following year in March, we went to Windsor, where we presented the constitution to a few of the community leaders that were able to come from all across the country. Somebody from Nova Scotia, from Halifax. What I'm saying to you, if you're in Canada, those distances from all like about 7 hours, 8 hours or so flight, time zone, all different. So we met in Windsor. Our committee presented the constitution. I defended the constitution for the second time because I had to defend it amongst ourselves as a committee. And this time I was defending it among the people that we presented it to. Mr. Hina, why you put this inside? Mr. Hina, why you took this one out? After everything, they say, yes, this is a good document. So our committee was dissolved.
That is Mr. Committee. That Mr.
Yes.
Kerry, who was chairman, everything was dissolved. All of those positions.
Yes, the Kerry committee that I was part of was now dissolved.
Mm-hmm.
We presented the constitution to the leaders that were community leaders. Mr. James Wright was chairing that committee because it was the city, he being the president, he was the host. So they said, but then we can't leave from here only with the people in our hand. We should put in place an interim leadership that will be able to sell this idea to the rest of the country to bring us together. The late couple, Jobos, she's passed away now, nominated me to be the interim president. Melvin Dan nominated Kerry, who had just been at the past chair for the ad hoc committee, to be the next president. And since there were two nominations on the floor, it was not possible to say, Mr. Hina, you take it, or Mr. Kerry, take it. So the delegates decided to vote. And they voted me in as the interim president with the responsibility of uniting this country. bringing all communities on board. The second person was the secretary position. Mr. Bonazeze Warrison, who is now one of the person running with this thing, decided to run. He was defeated by one Jalakuna Kwene. And Rab Dagosa ran unopposed and he became the treasurer. The three of us were elected as the national leaders. We officially launched the organization in London, in my city. And we moved. And what I did was during that period, to buy in, I had to start going from city to city to sell this idea for communities to understand. We started from London to Hamilton to Edmonton to Vancouver. And as we went from one convention to another, that's how we're drawing the crowd and people were coming in. They accused me of say they gave you 1 year mandate. These boys, some of them have been community leaders. Like Rustler was community leader in the Hamilton for 12 years. He can't even hold a community meeting. Zeze has been calling himself president for Toronto for the past 20 years.
For 20 years.
If you ask Jallo, he will tell you. For the past 20 years, and I tell you, during my tenure as interim president, I proposed a community meeting for Toronto over 7 times. Finally, I went there and brought people to the meeting. Zeze ran away from the meeting. He would never attend. The only organization in Toronto that can call and people come is something, the social group called Let's Celebrate Liberia, which is headed by Marvin Down and Diallo. Because they will have party, we like party. When they call party, they will all go to the party. So when they came out, we went to Vancouver, and I said, we have to move to an election. And they got it, they said, Mr. Hina has not registered the organization, so we are going to register the organization. Who are you going to register the organization for? To register the organization is less than $200. If I was paying my plane fare from here going around the country, plane tickets are of $700, $800. I'm driving with my wife. I have to pay hotel. How much was $200 to go register the organization? But for 3 years, I was appealing to these community leaders to just nominate someone to represent your city, to form the national board. I couldn't get them. Rostler could not nominate anybody. Zeze could not nominate anybody. Like the rest of them, except Vancouver, Edmonton, those are, as soon as they got on board, they nominated their board members right away. Winnipeg. So we now have 11 cities around Canada, from coast to coast to coast, that have embraced and are fully part of FLAG. At the last convention, we voted that each city must register, and they voted on the amount to pay. So when we're hosting a convention in Monrovia, and all the other communities from Banga, from Tapeta has to come, they will pay $500 each to the Monrovia seat to host a convention. In addition, they register themselves, their communities, as $200 each yearly to be a full-fledged member of the organization. My background is in government. So I studied local government and governance. And what I'm teaching here is an idea that will make us prosperous here, then we can transport it into Liberia. Because we have always put our egg into one basket. We surround our leaders with ourselves and always look for them to say the word and we follow. We need to be thinking outside of the box. I said to you the other day, I work for local government here, and the way it runs, if in the city of Monrovia, the president or the city government is responsible for how cars are parked in that city, they should be, how houses are marked in that city, it should be, how water is supplied, how light is supplied, it should be the responsibility of the city government. And I told you I can teach that in Liberia in 6 months, and I can strengthen that place and have people working diligently. So we went. I was elected. When we came from Vancouver, I heard these guys say they had overthrown my government. I was sick to my stomach. For people to be in this kind of democratic country and say we overthrow someone.
Is that not the Liberian blood? You know.
Yeah, I know. That's in the blood. I told you, in the blood. So, but even at that, we didn't stop. We still went to the extent of getting all the community leaders that have been coming or that are fully part. 9 cities invited these guys. Gentlemen, what's the problem? They said Mr. Hina has to resign. For what? If you guys want to take over, let's go to election. They had a meeting. They voted 6 against the other 3. That yes, we should go to the convention, we should go to the election. The election was open. If you're not satisfied with the election commission, nominate someone to the commission. They refuse. But they have to overthrow Mr. Hina. Kerry is going to Liberia. They say he's their president. Why will you do such thing? We're trying to build unity, and you are bringing disunity. We had an election in Windsor, July 19th, 19th and 20th. We were represented. Representation came from Europe, from the United States, from Liberia to witness the free and fair transition of power from one person to another. Now they are coming to say we are not the legitimate leaders because they ran quickly. They were part of the process. I appointed all of them as advisors to me when I was leading. So they had access to our document. They stole it and took people's names, put it on document. They said they are registering the organization because Mr. Hina has not registered the organization. So now they are fighting over names, not the constituents that named the fighting over. They should be called the Federation. I just told you at a point where you can, this is just nonsense. This is just a distraction for what we need to do. You know? So, like I said, it's in our blood. If it's not me, then it's not you. But we should be civil enough to transition from one person to another, like we've done in Liberia. We're going from President Salif to President Weah. What can we do to sustain the government day by day? Is what should be the hallmark. Not always throwing people away because people have expertise. People got knowledge. You don't throw them away. We should keep what we have to go through it. So the organization right now is in here we are strong. Flag is strong, and we're not only focusing here now in Canada. We're empowering our people to help us empower what we can do in Liberia, and we liaise with any other organization that is willing to provide service for our people in Liberia. We will be there to make sure that we can do it. No amount of distraction will deter us from doing the right thing. We will continue to persevere and do the right thing.
Okay, so that's you're welcome, Mr. Francis Hina. That's Mr. Francis Hina there. We're talking about the situation there of the Liberian communities in Canada. We spoke with the president, Mr. Leo Johnson, on last week, and today we're speaking with former interim head, Mr. Francis Hina. He will also be a regular year on the program to give us more knowledge. It's always good to tap into the knowledge base of older folks, elder folks who have got the experience, because remember, they've been there, they know what it is, and they can tell you exactly how it is to negotiate. Like I'm talking about the Defense Force Representative Fonati Kofa did come up to condemn General Powell. In the strongest of terms, Representative Kofa of Grand Crew County termed General Powell's assertion as modern that's urban militarism. Have you heard that before? Urban militarism, and he urged him to stop.
Okay. That's military in the city, military in the open, not in the bushes now.
Yeah. So urban militarism. While we're talking about urbanization and developing our urban space to make it ultra modern, because to be honest, we can only call a city when it's urban, when you have got all of the necessary social amenities and facilities, and you have free space to move, you have sceneries, you have all of those things. Then you say it's urban. We're still struggling to make Monrovia as urban cities can be, and we're talking about urban militarism. We should stop that. So, James, your parting comments, because we're already out of time.
Yeah, I just want to say many thanks to everyone for being a part of this program, and those who online. I want to say thank you very much for joining us, and don't trouble before trouble. See you. We hope to be back tomorrow. I love you.
Okay. All right. Water and soil, please, sir. Water. We beg you. We need water. Urban city like Monrovia. Mr. Hina, it's up to you.
Yeah, Diamond. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to make a special appeal to the government and the people of Liberia. We have a lot of resources here that we want to help strengthen the capacity of the Liberian government in any way possible. I sent a certificate of congratulations to President Weah upon his election. And I said to him, when the election is over, there is only one Liberia now, and that's one party. And I still stand by that. There are lots of resources we are tapping into here, and we need the government to come forth so that we can work together and help our people on the ground. I don't want power. I want to help. I want to help, and everyone I can talk to help. I need the government to lift up their heads. There are lots of resources and lots of opportunity here that we want to work with the government, collaborate with the government, and make sure that our people can benefit. My mother still lives in Liberia. My brothers are there. My good friends are there. I want to help to alleviate the poverty in our country and bring about sanity. Thank you very much.
And that's a good thing. That's why we're talking with you. That's why we're making you a regular on the program, because the best way to criticize is to find lasting solutions. You just can't come on the radio and criticize every other thing when you do not prefer solutions to those problems. So we're glad to have you on the Today Show, Mr. Hina. The invitation open as always, and we hope to make you a regular to talk about diverse things. As to sending the things to Liberia, we open as well to help you distribute them to our needed brothers and sisters here in Liberia. We appreciate FLAG. We appreciate each and every Liberian in Canada, and for those of you in other parts of the world, yeah, Liberians do need Liberians to pull through so that we can help each other. Thank you again for taking up your time, Mr. Hina.
Thank you, Damo.